Okay, so my name is Dorothy, and my presentation today is on COPD. In front of you here is a model that I've made of your lungs. The bottom part there with the blue balloon is your diaphragm, and as you can see, inhaling and exhaling, you can see how your lungs, which are the red balloons, obviously work. You can see them inhaling and exhaling. It's kind of pretty cool. Hi, okay, so the reason why I've done my project on COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, are because lungs are an interesting part of the body, and they're the main organ of the body, and that without them, you wouldn't be alive. COPD is a disease which causes some airflow blockage and breathing difficulties. Common diseases such as emphysema and chronic bronchitis. People with COPD have both conditions which affect middle to older adults, roughly usually about in their 40s. They are smokers, ex-smokers, cigar smokers, pipe smokers, basically any kind of a smoker. People who also inhale dust, and even people that work in the mines. There is 4 stages of COPD that range in early stages, a mild stage, a severe stage, and a very severe stage. At the beginning, between 80 to 100% are predicted values, and it can also go as severe as stage 4, like I said, where your value is less than 30% of your normal value. Your blood oxygen levels will be very low, and you're at risk of developing a heart or lung failure. Symptoms at the beginning, you may or may not even notice. Symptoms you may develop like a cough and increased mucus productions. You might even think you have the flu at this time, with showings of blueness in your lips and in your fingernail beds. As your symptoms worsen from stages, one needing to clear your throat often in the early mornings, your mucus and coughing will have worsened. You may start to become very short of breath. This point, you'd want to avoid walking, exercising, or even stair climbing. That's when you start to really realize something is going on with your body. You'll get frequent colds and other respiratory infections. You have a lack of energy, fatigue, swelling in your feet, ankles, legs, and even some weight loss. You'll start to avoid outside activities, like I said, even hiking. There are 5 exercises that can be especially helpful with COPD, as there is unfortunately no cure for the disease. There's purge lip breathing, coordinating breathing, deep breathing, a huff cough, and a diaphragmatic breathing. Some of the holistic approaches with the effects are for physical COPD, which makes it harder to breathe. Progressive means diseases get worse over time. COPD causes coughing that produces huge amounts of slimy substances of mucus, shortness of breath, chest tightness, and wheezing. Is caused by long-term exposure to irritating gases or particulate matters. Their spiritual effects decreases activities on low energy days, difficulty sorting out faith issues, holding on to spiritual traditions, and possible lack of faith. Physiological effects impact people's lives in many ways and their loved ones' lives as well. People that are diagnosed with COPD worried about the long-term health effects that their illness will have, whether they need to carry an oxygen tank around as they are unable to breathe without help. How will having COPD limit their medications and other treatments they'll have to be able to utilize for their conditions, what kind of impact will COPD have on their personal life? How will they keep up with the children and grandchildren as well if they can barely breathe while even sitting still? The emotional effects that COPD have on people are like depression. It's harder for one to take part in any kind of an activity as they feel isolated and alone. Some emotions one would go through are anger, anxiety, sadness, frustration, and stress. Social reactions to individuals with COPD can have an effect on their illness. Experience social effects can be one's inability to interact with others, and a social event such as playing or watching sports events, even joining outdoor events for camping, sitting at the fireplace, or changing in the weather with the humidity can send attacks to the lungs. Even social events like weddings and graduations. On a nutritional guideline for COPD, should be eaten at least between 20 to 30 grams of fiber each day, a simple to complex carbohydrates, mono and polyunsaturated fats, plenty of fluids. You should avoid items like caffeine, soda, lactose, high-calorie foods. Now, there are some people that would like to gain weight and some people that would like to lose weight with COPD. For people who wanting to lose the weight, go for more fresh fruits and vegetables over breads and pastas, and for the majority of complex carbohydrates. For people that want to gain the weight, you'd want to eat a variety of whole grain carbs and fresh fruits and vegetables. COPD can have a big impact with families and friends. For example, the outings with the families and friends, hiking, walking, camping, going to shows, or even dining out. It also affects whether a person who has the disease can really go out to enjoy any of that, as it affects the person's breathing, and that can be depressing for that one person. Here on my presentation board, you can see that there's two different kinds of inhalers that I have posted here. A blue inhaler, which is called salbutamol, and the orange inhaler that is called flexicone. Sorry if I pronounced those incorrectly. Plus, there is an aero chamber, which helps you to receive more of the inhaler than if you did without using it. There's also a picture of the 4 stages of how your lungs would look during those stages, as well as an x-ray of a person's lungs that has a COPD. As a PSW, my role would be to assist the persons with their ADLs, for example, doing the laundry, housekeeping, meal prepping, especially dusting and vacuuming, assisting with exercises if possible. People with COPD are very independent people, and I would not want to take that away from them. I would have them do their ADLs of what they can to their ability, and then whatever they would need assistance with is what I would help them out with. I would make sure that the person gets enough rest so they're not straining their lungs. COPD is a very scary disease to have, and to watch somebody going through struggling and breathing, that is not an enjoyable sight. I wouldn't want to really see anybody have to go through that. On that side there where you see the purple paper is some references of where I found some of my information. You can go on to some of those links and check it out yourself. Like I said, COPD is very interesting with it dealing with your lungs. I hope I've given you some information that would help you understand what COPD is. And I hope you enjoyed my little model there. Thank you very much for taking your time and listening.